Shall we all be seated, please? Okay, now, shall we rise for the national anthem? Thank you very much. Shall we all be seated? As is customary in the Ghanaian setting, we will begin this program with an opening prayer from Reverend Dr. Saratu Ahadzi. Shall we welcome her with a round of applause, please?
This is the doing of the Lord. My eyes have seen the goodness of the Lord. I can't explain his mercies every day. Testimonies all around. This is the doing of the Lord. Father, we know this is your doing. This day is a gift from you. Not all of us had it. And we say thank you. Lord, we commit this meeting, every individual that you are going to minister through. Let it bring hope, let it bring encouragement into all of us and the nation at large. In Jesus' name we have prayed. Amen.
Thank you very much, Reverend Saratu Ahadzi. For several months, His Excellency the President has been touring Ghana with a view to acquainting himself with progress made on investments that government is making in all sectors of our national life. Yesterday, His Excellency arrived in the beautiful city of Bogatanga to begin the installment for the Upper East region. And yesterday he had opportunity to tour a number of projects that are currently ongoing. Today he has arrived in our midst to participate in the citizens' engagement that often accompanies these Researching Ghana tours. And I wish to welcome him warmly on behalf of the people of the Upper East region. Your Excellency, a warm welcome to you. Now, this program offers an opportunity for various sector ministers to give an account of their stewardship as they have set about implementing the President's vision. And today we have a tall list of sector ministers who will be making short presentations on what government has been doing in their various sectors. We will of course cap it with an address or some remarks by His Excellency the President, after which an open session will take place where questions will be asked and appropriate answers given by His Excellency or any other sector minister that he nominates to do so. Without wasting any more time, I would call on the Upper East Regional Minister, the Honorable Akamugri Donatus Atanga, to give us a short presentation on what has been happening in this region since he assumed office as regional minister. Let us welcome him with a warm round of applause.
Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Ghana, Honorable Ministers of State, Honorable Members of Parliament, Members of the Council of State, Honorable Municipal and District Chief Executives, Officers and Heads of State institutions and agencies, eminent traditional authorities and religious leaders, representatives of the development partners and civil society organizations, heads of our security agencies, members of the media, my dear students, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. It is with a profound pleasure and a deep sense of responsibility on behalf of the chiefs and people of Upper East that I welcome His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, the President of the Republic of Ghana, and all the distinguished participants to this important Accounting to the People tour of the presidency here in Bolgatanga. Your Excellency, we are deeply honored by your presence. This gathering goes beyond a working engagement. It is a powerful affirmation of your commitment to the principle of government that must remain accountable to the people, and that development must ultimately be measured by the difference it makes in the lives of the people. Under your leadership, the region, through the 15 municipal and district assemblies, have made significant progress in implementing 253 physical development projects during the period under review. These, together with the 24 economic markets and 102 GET fund projects, totaling a total of 370 projects, spanned critical sectors including education, health, agriculture, water and sanitation, roads, peace and security, governance, and local government. Peace and security in the region. Your Excellency, the situation in Boku remains our most significant security concern. I am, however, pleased to report that Boku has remained relatively peaceful, with reconciliation and social integration gradually taking place. We remain committed to support the peace process and working closely with the security agencies, traditional authorities, and all relevant stakeholders to consolidate the gains made and secure lasting and sustainable peace in Boku. Your Excellency, the incident of armed robbery and motorbike snatching, which was previously rampant, has declined significantly to the barest minimum, largely due to the support of the stakeholders and the RGP Special Operation Team. Education sector. Your Excellency, across the 15 municipal and district assemblies, significant investments have been made in the education-related infrastructure from 2025 to date, reflecting our commitment to expanding access to quality education and creating conducive environment for teaching and learning. 90 education-related projects form part of the region's fiscal development interventions at various stages of completion. A detailed schedule of these projects is attached for Your Excellency's attention. The region has also benefited from the interventions such as the B-STEM program, alongside the implementation of the standard-based curriculum, which continue to strengthen teaching, learning, and skill development. Health sector. Your Excellency, within the period under review, 61 health infrastructure projects have been undertaken across the region, covering the construction, rehabilitation, and upgrading of the health facilities, thereby expanding access to quality health care and bringing essential services closer to the people. We are also pursuing the upgrading of the War Memorial Hospital in Nabrongo the establishment of the medical school in the University of Technology and Applied Science, a modern referral hospital in Boku, and regional teaching hospital in Bolgatanga. Agriculture and irrigation development. Your Excellency, under the Feed Ghana, the region has received and distributed 12,233 mini bags and 42,510 50-kilogram bags of fertilizer, benefiting a total number of 7,569 farmers across the region. Under the Nkoko Kitikiti initiative, 9,500 bags have been distributed so far to 252 farmers in Bongo and Boku West districts through the support of Food and Agriculture Organization and the Savannah Agriculture Development Project. Your Excellency, we have also identified approximately 24,475 acres of land with irrigation potential across Binduri, Boku West, Buza South, and Kasena Nankana, providing a strong base for all year-round agricultural production. The Fombisi Rice Valley remains one of the region's major agricultural assets, while a completion of the Tamde irrigation dam and the rehabilitation of the Tono and Via irrigation schemes have the potential to significantly transform agriculture sector, food security, and livelihoods. I am pleased to note that the rehabilitation of the Via Right Bank irrigation scheme is ongoing. A rice processing plant has been installed in the Tono under the public-private partnership with private sector investment, while the Tono Clubhouse is also undergoing renovation under the PPP arrangement. Water and sanitation. Your Excellency, under the water and sanitation sector, the Bongo water supply system has been expanded to serve approximately 25,428 residents, with a production capacity increasing from 25 to 150 cubic meters per day. The rehabilitation of the Sanduma and China water systems is also substantially advanced. Roads and connectivity. Your Excellency, within the period under review, the region awarded a total of 275.35 kilometers of feeder roads, including 35 kilometers earmarked for bituminous sufficient. I am pleased to report that 14 interventions covering 63.66 kilometers have been completed across the region. Key interventions include Kororoko Kadare, Zoko Junction Road, Kadema Naga Road, Sirigu Township Road in Borga, Zagu Junction, Buses Boku Road, and Sanduma Kori No. 1 Road, among others. Your Excellency, under the big push, the region is privileged to benefit from 34 kilometers of roads works, comprising 25 kilometers on the Chichuluga-Chana-Nakong stretch and 10 kilometers on the Chichuluga-Sanduma road, which you inspected yesterday. We are also working with the Ministry of Roads and Highways to secure the remaining sections, including the completion of the Bolgatanga-Boku-Pulmokom roads. Your Excellency, we are equally pursuing the development of the Bolgatanga Airport, for which you were graciously enough to inspect the secured land yesterday. When realized, this project will significantly strengthen connectivity, attract investment, and unlock the region's wider economic potentials. Sports development. Your Excellency, the RCC has submitted a proposal for the development of the Bolgatanga Sports Stadium to the Ministry of Youth and Sports and Ghana National Cylinder Company Limited. I am pleased to report that the Ministry has requested the stadium's documents, which have been duly submitted for consideration. We are also supported the National Sports Authority to host the regional boxing competition involving the Upper West, Upper East, and Northern region in the 2025 with outstanding boxers selected to represent the region at the national level. Local economy, development, and job creation. Your Excellency, our resource base includes gold, limestone, quarries resources, and significant solar potential, offering strong opportunities for industrialization, value addition, and job creation. The proposed ceramics, lime, and cement production initiatives, for instance, will convert local resources into investment, employment, and increase revenue for the region. The 24-hour economic markets are also ongoing in all the 15 assemblies, with land-related issues in Garu and Binduri being finalized with the support of the Zuguran, the paramount chief of Boku, through the PEL framework, which is prosperity through enterprise, agriculture, and resilient livelihoods. We are also positioning the region's gold resources found in the 10 out of the 15 districts as a catalyst for sustainable development and economic transformation, recognizing that our mineral resources are finite and must be converted into lasting value for our people. Governance and regional development. Your Excellency, under your leadership, we have facilitated the establishment of the Temporary Passport Application Center in Bolgatanga, bringing this essential service closer to our people. We are also grateful to the government working hard for the completion and operationalization of the permanent passport office to ensure sustainable and efficient passport services for the people of Upper East region. It is in this spirit that we have developed the PEL framework 2025 to 2035, 2026 to 2035, I beg your pardon, to provide a long-term pathway to make the Upper East region more productive, resilient, and investment ready. Conclusion. Your Excellency, the Upper East region has immense potentials, but we also face significant challenges. Our people are hardworking, resilient. What they require is peace, infrastructure, access to finance and market, job and enabling environments, and to turn their efforts into prosperity. Your Excellency, we are grateful for your continuous commitment to the Upper East region, and we assure you that the Regional Coordinating Council and the 15 district assemblies, traditional authorities, development partners, and all stakeholders remain committed to working with you to advance the development of the Upper East region. In line with your directive, I will cascade this accountability platform to the district levels, ensuring that our people have the opportunity to engage us and hold us accountable for the delivery of our commitments. May God bless our President, Excellency John Dramani Mahama. May God bless the chiefs and people of Upper East region, and may God bless our homeland Ghana. Mpohezuzui.
Thank you very much, Honorable Regional Minister, for that efficient delivery. A few weeks ago, government published a position paper on the report of the Constitution Review Committee. Since then, work has been ongoing to see through with the constitutional amendments that have been proposed. In addition to that, Operation Recover All Loot has been in full swing to hold public office holders accountable. And His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama has picked no other person than a son of the soil, the current Attorney General and Minister for Justice, and also Member of Parliament for Bolgatanga East. I have the privilege of welcoming on stage the Honorable Dr. Dominic Akrutinga Ayini to provide a briefing on both the constitution review process and Operation Recover All Loot. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you very much, Felix. Good morning, Mr. President. Good morning, our revered traditional leaders. Good morning to my colleagues and fellow citizens. The Honorable Minister for Government Communications has indicated that I have 5 minutes to perform this task that he has given me. I would want to begin with oral, that is Operation Recover All Loot. Fellow citizens, when we were campaigning in 2024, His Excellency the President was very straightforward and set in his mind that the wrongdoing that occurred, the corruption that took place under the 8 years of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo would not go uninvestigated. Now, this was set in the background of our own constitution. If you look at the Constitution of the Republic, it says that we commit ourselves to certain fundamental values. Amongst them is the value of accountability, and oral is all about accountability. That is why His Excellency the President, when he won and took office, and even before he was sworn in, he set up a committee known as the Operation Recover All Loot Committee. That committee did some preliminary work, handed over a comprehensive report to my office. We built 34 dockets out of the report of the oral committee. All investigations on the 34 dockets have been completed and preliminary findings have been made. A lot of them are being prepared for filing in court. But I must say, fellow countrymen and women, that investigations are a painstaking adventure. They are multi-layered. And His Excellency has always been very, very, very keen to ensure that when we are doing investigations or when we are doing prosecutions, we are not in any way leaving any stone unturned in a way that will let it look like he's engaging in persecution of political opponents. And so we do not only investigate using the agencies of state such as the BNI and the economic and organized crime, but we also investigate by doing forensic audits. And that is how come that the National Cathedral audit was ordered by His Excellency. The Auditor General procured the services of PwC that has submitted a report to that effect. My fellow citizens, the cases in court that we have filed so far are doing very, very well. In fact, I had occasion to mention that I am the first Attorney General in the history of the Fourth Republic to file 5 cases in court in 1 year. And Your Excellency, I want us to look at the record that we inherited as far as the prosecution of corruption in our country under the Fourth Republic is concerned. So, when we came into the Fourth Republic, from 1992 to 2000, that was when there was a change in government. And the first case to have been filed that dealt with corruption was Republic versus Victor Selome. And if you recall, that was a case in which the fast-track high courts had been set up by the Kufuor regime in order to make sure that corruption cases are fast-tracked. That case took 6 months, and it was because the MPP wanted to demonstrate that the fast-track courts were actually working. Then it was followed by Republic versus Ibrahim Adam and 4 others, that is the quality grain case. That case took us 23 months, that is roughly 2 years. Then we had Republic versus Chachuchi Kata. That is, that started on the 9th of October and ended on 9th of October 2002 and ended on 18th June 2008. Roughly 5 years and 8 months. Then we had Republic versus Daniel Aburakwi, which started on the 14th of October 2002 and ended on the 5th of February 2007. That is 4 years and 4 months. So the narrative that is going on by the MPP that oral is delaying is not true. In fact, our cases are going faster than any other case that has been instituted in the Fourth Republic. So, for instance, we have concluded our case in the SkyTrain. In other words, the Attorney General has closed his case in the SkyTrain. We are nearly done with our case in Republic versus Eduboahin, which is the National Signal Bureau's case. And most of the cases are also advancing faster than, the record time. So the negative narrative which is being peddled by the MPP to the effect that the cases are not going well, that the Attorney General is losing the cases in court, is one that is meant to divert public attention away from the diligent investigations that have been conducted. In fact, our investigations have so far been very well done, to the extent that if you look at the National Signal Bureau's case, we have submitted all the documents relating to how the monies were moved from a public account into a private account and how it was spent privately. So, for instance, I want to give an example. If you take 16.5 million Ghana cedis of public funds, put them into an account of a company belonging to you and your wife, and spend it for private purposes, and the documentary evidence has been placed before a court of law, tell me how anyone can say that the Attorney General, after placing this on record, is losing the case. Even common sense will tell you that this is a case that is so watertight. But I do not want to make any prejudicial comments because the cases are in court. Then I need to underscore one point. Oral is not just about the 34 dockets that have been built. Oral is also comprehensively pursuing investigations in other matters. So, for instance, you recently heard about the investigations into the local government, the Interministerial Committee on Local Government, which was headed by Miracle Sabuaje. That is part of oral. We need to look at it comprehensively and not only look at the 34 cases that have been built out of the oral committee report. So, ladies and gentlemen, on record, oral is doing a fantastic job, and the people of Ghana will begin to see the results of the prosecutions sooner than later. Now, the Minister for Government Communications also asked that I should give a briefing on the constitutional review process. So, His Excellency the President set up the Constitution Review committee in January 2025. He tasked the committee with going around the country, conducting consultations, and coming back with the views of the people of this country regarding how we can fine-tune the Constitution in order to better serve the needs of the people of the country. Now, remember that, and I mentioned this yesterday, that Article 1 of the Constitution is very clear, that all powers of government must be exercised in the name of and for the welfare of the people. And that is what the Resetting Ghana agenda is all about. Making sure that when governmental power exercised in any way, it will be to the benefit of the people of the country. And so the committee went to work. His Excellency had given the committee 6 months to bring back its final report. The committee asked for an extension and eventually brought their report in December 2025. That report was a summary. It was not a comprehensive, the final report. So we reviewed it, and then in February 2026, the final report, which was about 700 pages, was presented to government. Both the President and Cabinet thoroughly reviewed that report. We did about 3 cabinet meetings, including a whole weekend cabinet retreat presided over by His Excellency the President, which then looked into the recommendations of the committee in order to determine which ones to accept and which ones to reject. When we carefully studied the recommendations, we came out with our position paper, which was published, the government position paper, which was published in July, that is just last month. Now we are in the process of setting up the Constitution Review Implementation Committee, and I believe that His Excellency will be swearing them in this month to kickstart the process of implementing the accepted recommendations of government. And it entails 2 things. One is that there are provisions of the Constitution that are non-entrenched provisions. Those will be put in a bill titled the Constitution Review Amendment Bill number 1, 2026, and that bill will be presented to Parliament. But it will take us about 3 months to be able to do that, because under the Constitution, the bill needs to be gazetted for at least 3 months before it can be presented to Parliament. So in terms of our timelines, the idea is that by March 2027, the Constitution Amendment number 1 bill will be presented to Parliament for us to begin the process of passage. The entrenched provisions will be amended through a process in the Constitution for the amendment of entrenched bills, and that requires that we take the bill to a referendum. So the Constitution Amendment number 2 bill will be gazetted for 6 months, and thereafter it will be presented to the people of this country for them to approve its content. And when they do, it will now come back to Parliament for enactment. What it means is that we must have at the referendum 40% of Ghanaians turning out, and then out of the turning out to vote, and out of the 40%, 75% of them must approve the bill, so that it can then come to Parliament for enactment. And once it comes to Parliament, the President and Parliament cannot change anything in it. It will be sent to Mr. President, and Mr. President will then sign it into law, and the amendments would have been completed. So basically, in summary, this is where we are with the constitutional review process. But I want to assure all Ghanaians that as far as the 2 processes are concerned, everything is under control, and His Excellency the President will ensure that a good work is done. I want to emphasize the fact that His Excellency the President, as far as oral is concerned, will never approve that in my capacity as Attorney General, we engage in any persecution of a political opponent. I thank you, and God bless you all.
Thank you very much, Honorable Attorney General. The Honorable Haruna Idrisu will now mount the stage to bring us up to speed on developments in the education sector.
President John Dramani Mahama, President of Ghana and Commander-in-Chief, the Majority Leader and Leader of Government Business, Excellency Cletus Avoka, Council of State and other rep, our very revered and respected chiefs, ministers of state, including Managing Director Goyal and Mr. President, proud students. Mr. President, I will be very brief. Since your assumption of office as President of the Republic, you have endeavored to expand access to education at all levels, basic, secondary, and tertiary. Mr. President, your new policy places emphasis on basic education and realigning expenditure to improve foundational learning and learning outcomes. Mr. President, so far, the GET Fund has awarded 2,038 contracts, basic, secondary, and tertiary across the country to expand access to education generally. Mr. President, at the tertiary level, your commitment is to ensure that at least 2 to 4 public universities are added to the country, looking at Oti, Ahafo, Western North, and Mr. President, your own Damango. Work is fast advanced for the establishment of the University of Science and Technology in Damango. We have just concluded work on the design and build of that university, to which the President have committed $30 million of grant money given to him for the start of the project, whilst Mr. President is looking for additional resources to do that. The President is also positioning the University for Allied Sciences in this region as part of Mr. President's efforts to demystify medical education as he has done to legal education. So very soon, the university here will have a mandate and accreditation to do medicine, subject to the advancement and mobilization of additional resources. At the secondary education level, President John Dramani Mahama is committing 2.8 to 3 billion under a World Bank Star J program to expand access to secondary education. 12 schools in the Upper East region will benefit from this facility. Mr. President, I just reached out to the Honorable Minister for Finance, and he indicates to me that one of the secondary schools in Bolgatanga, he has signed a Badia agreement of $42 million. One of the secondary schools here will benefit from an expanded state-of-the-art institution of STEM in this region. Mr. President, let me conclude by saying that under President Mahama, free senior high school has come to stay. I see our proud students from Zamstek, and also the President visited Borgis. I know that there are attempts to encroach on your land. We will deal swiftly and decisively with that private person who wants to take over the school lands and all other school lands in the country. We will be expanding some of your facilities. Under President John Dramani Mahama, 2 special needs education schools will be constructed in Ho and Sinyane. Work is about commencing on 2 regional libraries in the Ahafo region and also in the Volta region, funded by the District Assembly Common Fund. So for President Mahama, at least I can say that cost of living is better than it was in 2024. If you look at the digits and the performance of the economy, of a strengthened currency, a low inflation rate, and a restructured and reduced debt, President is remobilizing resources. I cannot, Mr. President, conclude any comment in the Upper East region without touching on the Bolgatanga Technical University. We've gotten some funding from the Italians, and part of it will be used to retool some of the universities. So for President Mahama, is expanding access. The students in Zamtech will confess that there is no food shortage at all. Thanks to President Mahama and uncapping GET Fund, the schools are adequately fed with funding from GET Fund, supporting the buffer stock and Ghana commodity exchange. So for us, free senior high school has come to stay. But President Mahama is reviewing it, has reviewed it, and his response is, I'm expanding infrastructure, I'm providing for the feeding, and I'm providing for quality assurance. Let me use this opportunity to thank you, to thank the President that he knows that education remains a priority for the Upper East region. My own school, Navrungu Secondary School, is benefiting from an assembly hall and expanded dormitory as part of the GET Fund initiative in this particular area. So support President Mahama under his research, and education is a better. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Education Minister, for that crisp presentation. Now the Minister for Food and Agriculture, the Honorable Eric Opoku, will brief us on how his ministry is supporting agriculture in the Upper East region and ensuring food sufficiency for the whole of the country. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Moderator. Your Excellency, all protocols observed. We from the Ministry of Food and Agriculture have the responsibility to ensure that Ghana attains food self-sufficiency. We introduced what we call the Feed Ghana program. Under the Feed Ghana program, we campaigned across the country that everybody in this country must participate in agriculture. We encourage school farming, we encourage faith-based organizations to be part of agriculture, and indeed we encourage entities, state agencies to also participate in the process. When we assumed office, Ghana has experienced two major disasters. The first one was the spillage from the Akosombo Dam that devastated farms in the Volta enclave. The second one was the spillage, the dry spell that occurred in the northern enclave that also destroyed farms valued at millions of Ghana cedis. And so there was shortage of food. And Ghana, the government of Ghana, was at that time importing rice, maize, to supplement local production. Food inflation at that time, in January 2025, food inflation was 28.3%. After 1 year of the implementation of the Feed Ghana program, food inflation reduced significantly. It must be indicated that this is the lowest food inflation ever recorded in the history. This month, the Ghana Statistical Service released a report that indicates that overall inflation has reduced to 4.6 on the back of declining food prices. Farmers have contributed to bringing down inflation in our country. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, now coming to Upper East, what are we doing? Upper East. We have earmarked Upper East as the vegetable hub of this country, because Upper East has everything it takes to produce enough vegetables to feed our country. We have taken land at Tono irrigation site for the production of tomatoes, and we have special tomato production in this country. Currently, we are working in 130 communities across the country. They are in 35 districts, and what we are doing is simple. All farmers who register to participate in tomato production in this country will be supported financially to be able to do that. Every farmer will be given a soft loan of 20,000 per 1 acre. With insurance, out of the 20,000, you pay for insurance cover of 1,200. So should in case of any disaster that destroys the farm, insurance will pay you 50,000 Ghana cedis. Yesterday, I was in Tono with the financial institution and farm mate, the buyer that the Ministry of Food and Agriculture has engaged to come and work with the farmers on the farm to produce an offtake from the farm. We are doing this to reduce post-harvest losses. Your Excellency, post-harvest losses in Ghana cost us $2 billion annually, equivalent to 30% of all our agricultural produce. It does not make sense that farmers will invest their time, their energy, all their resources to produce, and 30% will go waste. So to address this, we have the buyers on the field. They will work with the farmers, produce, and when they harvest, they will buy and pay them. We are doing this at Tono. We are going to Via. I have the assurance of Mr. President that within a matter of 3 months, we will complete the right bank of Tono and then of Via and operationalize it immediately. So all the 850 hectares of land at Via will be made useful, will be given to the farmers, and immediately they will start producing all year round. Then when the regional minister was speaking, he mentioned lack of irrigation in Binduri, lack of irrigation in Boku West, lack of irrigation in Katsina Nankana and in Taransi district. Your Excellency, we have awarded contract for the construction and installation of solar-powered micro-irrigation systems. Solar-powered micro-irrigation systems. And contractors will be on site within the next 2 weeks to start constructing and installing irrigation systems to enable our people to operate. Again, on the issue of rice glut, fortunately or unfortunately, last year, Ghana witnessed a bumper harvest. Our farmers produced so much that the market was unable to accommodate. President Mahama, for the first time in the history of this country, made available resources through the Ministry of Food and Agriculture to the National Food Buffer Stock to go into the market and mop up the excess. As we speak today, all our warehouses, our silos are full. We have more than 20,000 metric tons of grains stored. So should in case of any emergency in this country, the government of President Mahama is ready to provide grains to support the citizens of our country. Unfortunately, we have one challenge to deal with. That is the glut of rice on our farms. In fact, when I came to Bolga, many of the farmers that came to me said that, when are you people going to procure our rice? President Mahama has given us resources, and buffer stock has started awarding contracts to millets. In fact, in Akko, we have given contracts to a private entity that is working with ICO. The contractor is supposed to buy the paddy rice, mill, and then transport to the national buffer stock. We have instructed them that if we hear that they are not buying from our farmers and that they are buying from other sources, that contract will be terminated immediately. And so all the rice farmers here in Garden, we want you to have the assurance that within the next 3 months, all the rice that you have, that we are not getting market, government of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama will buy all the rice for us to feed our students in the various schools. At the end of this month, the National Food Buffer Stock will publish the list of all the millers that we have contracted to buy the rice. We will publish them in the Daily Graphic, in the Ghanaian Times, and all the papers, and also announce on all our radio stations for every farmer to know where they are located, so that you can send your rice there for it to be bought. The good news is that we will not allow them to buy the rice cheaply. We are going to offer reasonable prices so that farmers can earn something significant from their sweat and labor. This year, we have procured 730,101 bags of inorganic fertilizer, equivalent to 37,000 metric tons. We have also procured 190,561 liters of organic fertilizer. We have also procured huge quantities of improved maize, rice, pepper, onion and tomato seeds, and we have distributed across the country free of charge to our farmers. We are doing this for one important reason. It is an emergency cushion in response to the low prices occasioned by the drought we have experienced this year. The president believes that farmers did not get enough income to be able to procure this input, and so there is a need for government to cushion farmers in order to produce at an affordable cost. So our farmers in the various cooperatives have been served. Every agricultural district in Ghana have been served. Our traditional authorities who are farming have also been served. Faith-based organizations have been served. Schools registered with us under the Free Ghana program have been served. And therefore we expect bumper harvest again this year. And we are preparing, we are putting up enough storage facilities to be able to accommodate the excess. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, this is my last point. In order to scale up agricultural production, President Mahama promised mechanization. So we are setting up what we call agricultural mechanization centers, now change to the farmers service centers. We are constructing 70 across the region. Contractors are already on the field. In Upper East, the Savannah Development Authority is setting up a farmer service center in Naga. They are also setting up another one in Iko. We have selected 4 different districts to also have farmer service centers here. The farmer service centers are going to serve as one-stop shop for all the farmers. If you want tractors, you get them there. If you want to plow your land, you get equipment there. If you want combine harvesters, you get it there. Whatever equipment that you need that will enable you scale up your farming activities, you get everything there. We are importing into this country the first batch of equipment. It has never happened in the history of Ghana that a government will at a point import agricultural equipment and implements numbering 1,840 into Ghana. It has never happened except under President John Dramani Mahama. We are bringing in tractors numbering 440 tractors, and that is the first batch. In the second batch, we are adding 660 to make a total of 1,100 tractors. This has never happened in the history of our country. Now we want agriculture to transition from agriculture being a mere survival activity to agriculture being enterprise, lucrative activity for all farmers who are engaged in agriculture to earn something substantial for their livelihood. Thank you. I'm done.
Thank you very much, Minister for Food and Agriculture, the Honorable Eriko Poku, for that comprehensive briefing packed into a few minutes. Now, there is hardly any region in Ghana that is not seeing the construction of major roads. And the man who has been helming that activity, the Honorable Governor Kwame Abuja, Minister for Roads and Highways, is here to brief us on the progress of work. Thank you very much.
Honorable Felix, thank you very much. He just reminded me again that I have only 5 minutes, so I'll make it snappy. Your Excellency, President John Dramani Mahama and colleagues, I will stand on existing protocols and make it snappy. Fellow countrymen and women, President Mahama's infrastructure master plan road section is in full swing across the country. Every region is getting a fair share of President Mahama's road project. Indeed, this scale of road project has never been undertaken by any government at the same time in our history. You will agree with me that our great builder is President Mahama. So I call him in my mind, our president is a great builder of our country because he's building everywhere. When we got here yesterday, President Mahama took the opportunity to visit some of the projects that are closer to Bolga. So yesterday we visited the Navrongo Chuchuliga Tumu Road, and the contractor is doing very well on the site. When that project is completed together with others, it will be the easiest way to travel from Bolga all the way to Wa. Those of you who have been plying that road now will realize that many of the contractors have finished their sealing works to a large extent. Yesterday also, as the regional minister said, one of the projects President Mahama started in 2015, works actually started in 2016, was the Bolga Boku Polmakum, and when he left office, the project stalled. The previous government tried to resuscitate it. Unfortunately, our debt profile made it impossible. Now, President Mahama has directed that whatever it takes for that project to be completed by the end of 2027 has to be done. Fortunately, yesterday, he was with us on the site, and the contractors have returned to site. These contractors are not going to leave the site again until the project is finished. That is assurance we give you. This morning, on behalf of President Mahama, I went to Tongo to join my colleagues, two MPs there, to actually commence the construction of the road from Tongo, Shega to Pelengu. That project will also be completed, and I know my two colleagues and others have been fighting for that. The president has also indicated that the road from Tamale to Bolga, everybody who uses it, including myself, and I'll use it again, has deteriorated. That project, when it was built, I'm sure few of our younger sisters here were not born. The road has deteriorated. It is no longer fit for purpose. It's not safe. President Mahama has directed us to work on it. We are putting it together for comprehensive reconstruction all the way to the Tamale. He's also directed that the eastern corridor from Tema all the way to Kulungugu should be done. You will notice that contractors are busy on the full stretch. The only stretch that is left, that is the stretch from Nakmanduri to Garu to Kulungugu. That section is also being prepared as we speak, and during his second phase of the big push, you realize that contractors are back on that site as well. I cannot come here and not address one issue because I have only 5 minutes. President Mahama, doing the big push which addresses the trunk road and major intersections, he's also directed us to work on some feeder roads connecting other places to the feeder roads. The World Bank was using, and then my colleague, Honorable Agric Minister was there, decided to use a data and decided that the project should be done in only 4 regions. Later, we expanded it, and then we ended up in 13 regions, leaving 3 other regions, Greater Accra, Upper East, and Northeast. I know this issue has become topical. What I'm going to say here will put me in trouble in other regions, because what I know is that some of the World Bank project we have been talking about amounted to about 40-60 kilometers in some regions. But what are we doing to make sure that Upper East have its own share of this project? President directed, and between now and next month, you realize that contractors will be on site on 18 projects in this region. So instead of getting 60 kilometers, Upper East is getting 267 kilometers of those roads. Yes, I know you are clapping, but I'm going to get into trouble in another region. And let me mention this road so that it is clear to everybody that this is what we are doing, and then the commencement authorization will be issued next week for us to start the procurement process. So give me a few minutes to let me just read what we are doing. So we are doing the upgrading of Gumongo to Nairo and other feeder roads, the rehabilitation of the Saboro Su and the Usunga feeder roads, that is one. Upgrading of Bedema to Kanjaga feeder road, the rehabilitation of Catholic Pandem Health Center and other feeder roads, the Chuchuliga, Awu, Lansa and other feeder roads, upgrading of bituminous surfacing of Kandinga Junction to Sirigu feeder road, the construction of 30-meter long span bridge over River Kolalibali on Paga to Sirigu feeder road, the construction of a 36-meter long steel bridge over River Gugura on Paga Sirigu road again, the upgrading of Zare Market to Zisiri feeder road, upgrading of Yakubu Corner Junction to Yakubu Corner Batia feeder road, the upgrading of Asange, Pelungu and other feeder roads, upgrade bituminous surfacing of Y Junction, Domiabra, Tampani feeder road, and rehabilitation of Bayonde to Congo feeder road, upgrading of Bongo Central to Namon road. I'm sure the regional minister is excited about this particular one. The upgrading of and bituminous surfacing of Zebila Hospital to Tanga feeder road, and upgrading and bituminous surfacing of Zebila SHS to Kukore feeder road, the upgrading of Zare Nyariga to Ayone feeder road, upgrading of Zarungu Tongo feeder road, upgrading of Boku Narangu feeder road, upgrading of Pusiga town roads, Navrongo Pungu Natumnia feeder road, the upgrading of Bayonde Congo feeder road, the upgrading of Asorekobinsi Guinea Fowl Junction to Nyariga Canal feeder road, Azimson bypass, and then many more. A total of 18 projects, 267 kilometers. That is starting by next month. Will you substitute this for a 50-kilometer road under the World Bank? No way, isn't it? President Mahama is making sure that his road projects are equitably distributed, especially to those of us who have suffered no road projects within the 8 years of the previous government. We are addressing those ones, and I can guarantee you by the end of President Mahama's tenure, you will see that this region is fully open with good road, tarred and everything. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister, for giving this comprehensive updates on progress of work on roads in the Upper East region in particular and Ghana in general. So the Honorable Isaac Adongo is Member of Parliament for Bogatanga Central. He is also the Chairman of the Finance Committee of Parliament and a man well versed in happenings within the Ghanaian economy. He will give us a brief presentation on what President Mahama has been doing with the economy since he took over as President of the Republic of Ghana. Let us welcome him with a round of applause.
His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Ghana, may I stand on the existing protocols already established to make some few remarks. Your Excellency, I recall when you were the flag bearer, you seemed not to like our briefing anytime we came to you, because we painted a very gloomy economy that you were going to inherit. And often you asked us what are the solutions that we will need to implement. There were 4 key issues that you were concerned with. One was the fact that Ghana was spending recklessly, and you wanted clear reforms that will ensure that we'll get a handle on the expenditures that we incurred to manage the economy. You can hear from all my colleagues who came here, Road Minister is happy to construct roads, Education Minister is happy to give access to education, and you could also hear the others, all of them are asking for money. And your question was, how do we do this without plunging the country into the kind of situation that we found ourselves? And we said we will find a solution. The second one was that everywhere we went, Ghanaians were suffering from the management of the economy in relation to monetary policy. Inflation was very high, interest rates were very high, exchange rate was very bad, and all that you wanted was how do we ensure that within a shorter period Ghanaians experience some relief in terms of those numbers coming down and giving relief to Ghanaians. Then the third issue that we were concerned with was how do we strengthen the external sector of Ghana, particularly when you were told that the only foreign currency that we have, the dollar, and all other foreign reserves at the Bank of Ghana could only last for 2 weeks at the central bank. So even if you had to buy medicine for the people of Ghana and you went to the Bank of Ghana, you wouldn't find money to buy those medicines. So His Excellency wanted to find out how we will bring back the stability in the economy and strengthen monetary policy. Then finally, you said that after all of this, the economy must grow. So you were worried about the real sector of the economy. Today, Mr. President, I'm happy not to report bad news, but to tell you that your government over just 1 year, you have turned the corner properly, not the ones that they were attempting to turn and were getting accidents all over the place. Today, you have turned this economy. Your fiscal environment is robust. The Minister for Finance has introduced clear reforms that have anchored the development of our country. I'm happy to hear the Minister for Roads not just saying that he's awarding contracts, but that he is waiting for what we call commitment authorization. That is an intentional reform that you made that ensured that the Minister for Finance was able to have control over the expenditures that your ministers incurred, but to find the PPA as the agency to safeguard and protect the implementation of the commitment authorization. As a result of that, we are able to do the things that we want to do, but we'll do it much more responsibly and make sure that Ghana does not get into the situation that we had before. Then secondly, within 1 year, your governor of the central bank, together with his board, worked assiduously to bring down inflation. I heard Honorable Eric Opoku mentioning that inflation is now 4.6. In fact, Mr. President, the challenge we are now getting is that people are saying that the inflation is just too low. They are not used to 4.6%. So it looks as if we are rather disrupting them because they are used to 40%, 50%. But of course, over time, we will learn to live with stable prices over a period of time. And that will assist our businessmen to plan and to assist our households to manage their incomes properly. Then we also are able to bring down interest rates. Today, interest rates are no more at the levels that they were before. So businesses can borrow at reasonable cost and expand the economy. Then the concern that you had about the real sector has been addressed. Today, your economy grew by over 6% last year. But what is important is that this growth was broad-based. In fact, Honorable Eric Opoku's sector grew by almost 7.9%. It had never been heard for a very long time that agriculture was doing so well. Even fisheries that was growing at a negative rate improved in 2025. Manufacturing, and if you recall in the past, government never mentioned manufacturing growth. They will mention industrial growth. Industrial growth is not just manufacturing. It includes mining, it includes oil sector production, and so they put all of that together so that they can hide the non-growth of the manufacturing sector. But under you, manufacturing has grown by 7% in just 1 year. That is a remarkable achievement. But even more importantly, you are able to do this without borrowing from the external market, but you are able to do that from the resources that are generated by the people of Ghana. Because, Mr. President, one of the briefs that you gave to your Minister for Finance is that he must make sure that whilst he deals with the problem of expenditure, he must also solve the problem of revenue. He must grow the revenue so that we can be able to develop our country without looking for external resources. And so some reforms have been taking place to ensure that we grow the revenue base. Today, for the first time in many years, the customs sector recorded outperformed the revenue target that was set for customs. It has never happened in about 7-8 years, but your government did it in 1 year, and that is because you allowed the introduction of the Republican, which is an AI system that allows the government to control under-invoicing and over-invoicing to be able to rake in the appropriate revenue that we need to grow our country. But at the moment, our biggest problem is the VAT sector, and I'm happy to announce that your minister has instituted a bipartisan committee to advise him on the implementation of what we call the fiscal point of sale device, which is an electronic system that will monitor and ensure that when people buy goods and services and they pay the VAT actually gets to the government and GRA gets the benefit of those resources. And that advisory committee he set up includes the leadership of the finance committee, which also includes the opposition on that committee, the leadership of the budget committee, and chaired by his deputy minister, Honorable Ampim Nyako, and oversighted by he himself. And it includes the technical team of the GRA. Mr. President, it is very clear that you are not only developing the country, but you are doing that so responsibly, and to ensure that we don't go back to the days when Ghana went into debt distress. You recall that before we came to power, we told you that you could not go out there and borrow, because when Ghana was going to the last IMF program, a major benchmark for IMF is that IMF does not lend into an unsustainable situation. And so before they come and give you an IMF program, they have to assess your debt levels and come to a conclusion that your debt levels are sustainable. Unfortunately, for the first time, Ghana's debt was assessed not to be sustainable, and therefore we could not qualify for an IMF program for the first time. And therefore we had to come back, sit down with our creditors, and find a very sharp scissors to undertake a surgical operation that was to remove the tumor that was eating into the finances of Ghana. And you all experienced it, that the finance minister had one of the biggest scissors cutting everywhere, and we used to call it the haircut, isn't it? The pensioners got their own, those who borrowed from government also had their own. Today, you don't want Ghana to go through that painful experience again, and your finance minister, apart from doing all of this, is putting aside money to ensure that when our debt mature, we are able to pay. Only last month, we were able to settle $700 million of debt owed to our external partners that our previous government borrowed and couldn't pay. As we speak now, the minister must find 10 billion next month in October to pay the domestic exchange program debt bondholders whose maturities are falling due. Mr. President, anytime they tell you that you should complete Agenda 111, tell them you are completing their other Agenda 111. The debt they left for us that we need to pay in the next 2 years amount to 111 billion Ghana cedis. That is Agenda 111 you are working with. And when you finish dealing with that Agenda 111, we will come back to Honorable Akando's 111 and we'll be comfortable to deal with it. Mr. President, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Adongo, for that presentation. Yesterday, there was a short but impressive ceremony at Zwarungu around the free primary health care program. But for those of you who still are unclear what the program is about, and those of you who are concerned about recruitment into the health sector and other issues relating to the provision of health for the people of Ghana, let me welcome the Honorable Kwabnaminta Akando, who will shed light on this and other matters. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Felix. Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Ghana, President John Dramani Mahama, permit me to proceed on the already established protocols. Your Excellency, as we all know, the health of the people is ultimately the wealth of the people. And so there is a journey that every country is embarking on, that is to attain universal health coverage. Now, this means that irrespective of your location, your geographical location, your status in society, you must have access to quality health care. To do this, His Excellency the President is rolling out 3 main interventions in the health sector. His Excellency the President is pursuing health sovereignty not only in Ghana but on the continent and on the globe. When he took over, one of the first policies he ensured that was established was the uncapping of the National Health Insurance Levy. And to that, we were able to rake in more domestic resources to be able to pursue the reforms we are pursuing in the health sector. Number 1, we have what we call the free primary health care. We have the National Health Insurance Scheme, and we have Mahama Cares. These are the interventions in the health sector. As you all agree with me, our healthcare delivery has been built around the treatment of diseases. And so the National Health Insurance has been built along the payment of treatment of diseases. But healthcare, properly so called, is not only about the treatment of diseases. Whilst we are strengthening our healthcare delivery along the treatment of diseases, we are also investing in the prevention of diseases. So we are now paying to prevent diseases. So prevention, promotion, and treatment will then come together to mean proper health care delivery. And so this year, we are rolling out the free primary health care in 150 districts out of the 261. And the free primary health care has its own limitations. We are not rolling out this policy by word on map, but we have the logistics, we have the basic equipment that will help us for the smooth implementation of this policy. We have procured not less than 24,000 pieces of this equipment. We have procured motorbikes and motor tricycles that will aid the movement of these health professionals to move from community to community, from house to house, from town to town, in order to discharge their duties. So in Upper East, we have deployed your fair share of the equipment. Yesterday I had the opportunity to visit the regional medical store, and it's full of these equipment. We have also deployed the red bags, we call it the kits, that will help these health professionals to move from house to house. And so the free primary health care today, as I speak to you, is in full force. From July to September alone, we have disbursed not less than 35 million Ghana cedis. That is, we are paying for the prevention of the diseases. And this is what they will do. When they come to your homes, they will check your vitals. We all know the non-communicable diseases, they progress silently. So A lot of us do not even know our health status. By the time you realize you either have stroke or one complication or the other, that is when you realize that you are in serious trouble. We do not want to wait till that point. We want to prevent you from getting to that situation, or early detection. And once we are able to detect them early, we'll be able to manage them very, very, very well. Your Excellency, the free primary health care is applicable at the chief's compound, and you have directed that every district must construct not less than 2 chiefs in a year. And so as I speak to you now, over 400 chiefs compound have been constructed along the length and breadth of this country. And from there, it is also applicable at the health centers. It's also applicable at the polyclinics. Your Excellency, what it means is that when you are referred beyond the polyclinic, that is the secondary level, the district hospitals, the regional hospitals, and the teaching hospitals, there's another intervention, that is the National Health Insurance Scheme. Your Excellency, we took the National Health Insurance Scheme at a coverage of 57% at the end of 2024. In a matter of less than 2 years, the records available to us indicate that the National Health Insurance has a coverage of 76%. And it is our expectation that by the end of 2028, we should be targeting 90% coverage. And so I will encourage all of you to be subscribers of the National Health Insurance Scheme. Do not say that because of the free primary health care, you don't need the National Health Insurance, because the free primary health care has not come to replace the National Health Insurance Scheme. In the free primary health care, all you need is to identify yourself as a Ghanaian. You don't need to pay anything, both curative, preventive, and promotion. At that point, the National Health Insurance also has its own limitations. There are diseases that are not captured under the National Health Insurance Scheme, especially the non-communicable diseases that are killing us at an alarming rate. And so there's another intervention that His Excellency has established. And so the establishment of the Ghana Medical Trust Fund, popularly known as Mahama Cares, is dedicated towards the funding of non-communicable diseases like the cancers. And so along the chain, from primary health care, secondary, and tertiary, at every point along the chain, you have one intervention or the other as a Ghanaian to benefit from. Your Excellency, we inherited a situation where more than 100,000 professionals, health professionals, have been trained, but they are at home without employment. As if that was not enough, we inherited a situation where about 13,500 nurses and midwives had been recruited, posted, yet there was no financial provision to pay them. You all recall, the beginning of this administration, we were greeted with a lot of demonstrations from the nurses. The reason was that they had been recruited, posted without payment. We are left with 2 options, whether to lay all of them off and look for clearance for them, or to allow them to continue work and then migrate all of them to the payroll. And His Excellency the President directed us to take the latter. Your Excellency, I am happy to report that as I speak now, all the 13,500 nurses have been migrated to the payroll and they are being paid. Not only are they being paid, Your Excellency, there were this propaganda in the system that we have allowed them to work for 10 months and we're not going to pay them. We're not going to pay the arrears. Your Excellency, at the end of July this year, all arrears have been paid. Now, the solution to absorb these professionals at home, we have 3 main approaches. We are signing MOUs with other countries. the Kitts and Nevis, the Barbados, the Jamaicans, the US, the UK, and since we took over, we've moved about 3 batches. And so we are migrating some of them, facilitating the movement of these health professionals to other countries, and we are also absorbing some of them in our health centers. We are looking at absorbing about 16,000. We have concluded recruitment on 8,000, and going forward we are going to do additional 8,000 of them. Your Excellency, I can see Honorable Felix on his feet. Your Excellency, as I speak to you now, out of the 10 regional hospitals we have in this country, the NDC constructed 9 out of the 10 regional hospitals. And as I speak to you now, we have 6 regions without regional hospitals. In the 2026 budget, allocation has been made to commence the construction of regional hospitals in 3 regions: the Savannah, Western North, and OT. And in 2027, the additional 3 will also be constructed. Agenda 111, lastly. Your Excellency, unlike your first term in office, almost all the projects you left behind, we had dedicated sources of funding. Talk about the Aerojet, talk about the NMS project. But in the case of Agenda 111, no sources of funding. We have invested about 4.8 billion Ghana cedis, and not a single one of them has been completed or in operation. But you have instructed us that none of these projects should be abandoned. So as I speak to you now, we have selected 35 of these projects that government is going to invest in for its full completion and operationalization. Within the 35, the Upper East region has 4 of the 35. 4. So it means that you have more than other regions, because we have 16 regions. So if we are even sharing, it will not be more than 2 per region. But then you have 4 of these facilities. So Your Excellency, again, one very important thing, there is an instrument or equipment which is very vital in fighting non-communicable diseases: cath lab, or we call it cardiology centers. In the northern part of the country, all the 5 regions in the north, there was none. As I speak to you now, we are constructing one at Tamale Teaching Hospital to take care of the northern part of the country. We are constructing one at Kolebu. We have finished the Kolebu one, we've commissioned it, and Komfanoche is also progressing steadily. So there's a lot of progress in the health sector, and we will continue to serve you and serve you well. I'm most grateful.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister responsible for health. President Mahama promised whilst campaigning to be president that he will ensure the timely release of adequate resources to municipal or metropolitan, municipal and district assemblies. The man who has superintended these efforts is now penciled to take over at the Ministry of Works and Housing. But before he does that, we require of him one last assignment in respect of the Ministry of Local Government, Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs, the Honorable Ahmed Ibrahim, Honorable MP for the people of Banda. Last one.
Thank you, Mamdada Felix. Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Ghana, because it is last one, I have to say all. Former Assembly Member for Bole DA, 12th-year Member of Parliament for Bole Bamoy, former Deputy Minister, former running mate and Vice President, former President, former ECOWAS President, African Union First Vice President, Second Vice President, soon to be African Union Continental President 2027. Your Excellency, once I said that, permit me to mention just one person and stand on the existing protocol. His Royal Majesty, President of the Upper East Regional House of Chiefs, and the entire members of the House, colleagues, ministers of state, my brothers and sisters, let me stand on the existing protocol. Good afternoon. Your Excellency, I'm here to do a simple task, to to speak on your activities in the local government front for the past 20 months. Your Excellency, as you are aware, we were told before 2016 that try me and see. But in 2025, you came with a track record. So Ghana has moved beyond try me and see. Before you came to the throne, you knew what you were coming to do. What then have you done? You were the first president. By end of January, all your cabinet ministers were at post. You were the first president. By 11th of February, all your council of state members elections were organized. You were the first president. By April, all your government appointees in the district assemblies have been appointed. The first president, by 2nd of June, there was an orientation for all your metropolitan, municipal, and district chief executives for all the 261 metropolitan, municipal, and district assembly. Mr. President, the first president to be able to pay all the 9,090 assembly members an amount of 1,300 Ghana cedis every month for the year 2025, and in 2026, the first quarter has been paid. And Mr. President, as I speak to you, the assembly members' allowances from April to December has been released by the finance minister to the Ministry of Local Government, and the controller is just releasing the actual funds for us to be able to pay even the second quarter. So assembly members, the era where you used to wait and say we'll state demonstration is past and gone. Your amount up to December has not been released by the Minister for Finance to local government. Mr. President, in election year, there was only 324 million Ghana cedis released to all the 261 assembly members in 2024. But as I speak to you, from 2025 to date, your government has released an amount of 6.2 billion for 2024 and 4.4 billion for 2025 and 4.4 billion for 2026. So that 20 months, 12 months for 2025, 4 quarters, 6 months for 2026, 2 quarters. The Minister for Finance, Mr. President, has released an amount of close to 11 billion to the 261 metropolitan, municipal, and district assemblies. Ladies and gentlemen, the entire 8 years of the Nana Addo Dankwa administration, the amount of money released to the 261 district assemblies was 17 billion. So what, Mr. President, you have released for 1.5 years is almost equal to what they released in 8 years. Mr. President, not only that, your government has also been able to assess all the 261 metropolitan, municipal, and district assemblies. But the problem is, since 2022, 2022, 2023, 2024, the MPP government could not even assess all the district assemblies. So there was no D-part. And therefore, for the 8 years, their D-part release was 1.1 billion. Mr. President, for 1 year, your D-part money is 738 million Ghana cedis. It has never happened before, equivalent to their 8 years tenure. Mr. President, not only that, your government has been able to earmark 261 24-hour economy in all the country. By December 2028, almost all the market in the metropolitan, municipal, and district assemblies will be your legacy. Because apart from the 261, you did Kajetia, you did Kotokraba, you did Home Market, you did Aswasi. So if you add these 261 to what you did before 2016, it means all the markets in the country are constructed by you. And that is why you are called the Ghana's infrastructure king. Mr. President, not only that, on the chieftaincy front, Mr. President, for 8 years, their allowances was not increased. But last year, you increased the allowances for our chiefs, paramount chiefs, and queen mothers by 300%. Mr. President, not only that, the amount for the judicial adjudication for the judicial committee was increased by 67%.
Mr. President, not only that, you have given executive approval for the construction and approval for the university for the governance. And through that, Mr. President, you are bringing a course which is called Royal Academy for Chiefs, where our traditional rulers are going to have their capacity building. Nanalum will go for courses in the Royal Academy of Chiefs. One of the campuses is in Tamale, one of the campuses is in Akumadan, and one of the campuses is in Accra. Mr. President, this will help to be able to bring down the number of chieftaincy cases that we have. Mr. President, not only that, apart from that, Mr. President, you are the only one who was able to recruit legal counsels in our judicial committees. And Mr. President, this has never happened. Apart from that, Mr. President, apart from that, Mr. President, you are the only president who has been able to, within this short period of time, you've given approval for the review of the Local Governance Act 936, and not only that, the University for Governance Studies, not only that, another law that, Mr. President, we are reviewing is the Land Use and Spatial Planning Law, which used to be called Town and Country Planning Act. Mr. President, many Ghanaians don't even know what is called town and land use and spatial planning. What we are used to is town and country planning. And therefore the land use and spatial planning law is a new thing. The president has approved it. It is for printing. And very soon it will be presented to Parliament. Finally, Mr. President, we are here today. I've spoken about most of your achievements. The Upper East region is a region where we used to score 50/15. Mr. President, because of that, the region, the MMDCs in the Upper East region were punished because of NDC. In 2024, when the new Patriotic Party government was buying cars for MMDCs, they refused to give some of the cars to the Upper East region DCs. They refused to give to Upper West region. They refused to give to Volta region. They refused to give to Oti region. They refused to give to Savannah region. They refused to give to about the regions that were desperate NDCs were not given. That because of that, Mr. President, most of your MMDCs go to offices on motorbikes. And our colleagues, my respected MMDCs, Mr. President has approved by next year, all the 261 metropolitan, municipal, and district assemblies will receive one SUV and one pickup. So the era where you used to ride to your offices by motorbike will be a thing of the past. And this one, Mr. President, is not only buying for the NDC strongholds, unlike what the MPP did. Mr. President is buying for all the 261. When you get yours, Mr. President, the honorable assembly members, the small honorables, are also crying for their motorbikes. NALAC elections is in December, and they are also talking. Finally, Mr. President, one key thing that the North Upper East region need, you have given $10 million grant for Soko. Soko is a game changer in the Upper East region. Secondary city is a game changer in the Upper East region. Then PSMP is a game changer. These three projects, Mr. President, it's not too big money. But I think when we get back to Accra, if we are able to release those monies, the vulnerables in those regions, 6 regions in the north, will be able to have improvement in their lives. With that, having said this, thank you very much. You said I've been reserved, but I will still be supporting you. So, Mr. President, I'm ever ready to give support. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. So, such support will then make you local government minister emeritus. Your Excellency the President, sector ministers have taken the time to explain exactly what they are doing in furtherance of your vision for the development of Ghana. It is now time for our revered traditional rulers to say a word or two. And to do that on behalf of the Upper East Regional House of Chiefs, I have the pleasure of inviting the Chianapio, P. Ayagetam III. Please speak. Yeah. No? Oh, send it.
It's fine. It can be. His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Ghana, John Dramani Mahama, distinguished Councils of State Member, Cletus Avoka, the Upper East Regional Minister and his colleague ministers, esteemed members of the Upper East Regional House of Chiefs and the religious fraternity, the Upper East Parliamentary Caucus, MMDCEs, heads of institutions, the media, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, other protocols duly observed. I am honored on this historic occasion of the resetting Ghana citizen engagement with President Mahama to be called upon to deliver a few remarks on behalf of my colleagues, landlords, custodians of the customs and traditions of the people of the Upper East region. I join the regional minister to welcome all of you to the Upper East region. I extend a very warm welcome to our highly esteemed guests of honor, His Excellency the President of the Republic of Ghana, whose vision and quest to reset our dear country has necessitated this august gathering. I am very much aware that this region has been the President's home long before he joined politics. Therefore, to say welcome is a mere formality. Earlier on in June this year, the sons and daughters of the Upper East region converged this very auditorium to conduct what, from the perspective of a traditional ruler, was a spiritual exercise. Just like today, we gathered here to rediscover the destiny of our dear region and illuminate the path that leads to an era of sustained prosperity for generations yet unborn. Needless to add that the June convocation was anchored on the reset agenda of Your Excellency, the President of Ghana. It is my fervent prayer that the good Lord, and our ancestors will give us a clear vision that we may know where to stand and what to stand for. Because unless we stand for something, we shall fall for anything. I hope that many decades after we have left this world, our great-grandchildren will say, the gods of our fathers answered our prayers here in Upper East region. And the evidence will be the deliverables of the broader recent agenda of the government of Ghana and its people. Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Ghana, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I believe strongly that the quest to change the narrative of poverty, conflict, illiteracy, and economic deprivation that has become synonymous with our beloved region. This important engagement with the President would help to identify and work towards a sustainable solution. The Upper East region is endowed with rich human and natural resources, including gold and a large fertile agricultural land such as the Fimbisi Valley and many others. Needless to add that we have an enviable cultural heritage and tourist attraction. The Tongo Hills and shrines, Crocodile Pond at Paga are but a few landmarks of historical and cultural significance. Mr. President, it is with this profound pride that I reiterated our gratitude to you for reinforcing Ghana's position as the Black Star of Africa by leading the continent in the inevitable advocacy for reparation. I dare say that you are the Kwame Nkrumah of our time. Back home, you have not relented in leading the charge to improve the lives of people. In a matter of 2 days, you have inspected ongoing constructions of critical infrastructure, including the site for the Bolgatanga Airport, the Navrongo-Chuchuluga-Tumu Road, the 4-story laboratory complex at the University of Technology and Applied Sciences in Navrongo, inspection of the completed E-block at Paga, the implementation of the free primary health care was born in Upper East yesterday at Zorongo. We therefore serve as the pioneering region to deliver the dream and vision of His Excellency the President. We shall not disappoint you, even though there will be setbacks and challenges. These setbacks will be solved to serve as lessons learned to other regions to pave way for the smooth implementation of your vision, Mr. President. Your Excellency, we are certain that the free medical care would strengthen public confidence in healthcare, reduce financial barriers, the amount individuals and families have to pay directly for medical treatment. It will also support vulnerable groups and ultimately promote universal health coverage. We are internally grateful for these interventions. Your Excellency the President of Ghana, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, there is a lot to be said, but time is not an ally. Therefore, permit me to end here on a note of immense gratitude to you and your hard-working team. Our son and representative of the President, the regional minister, my colleague traditional leaders, ministers of state, and all herein gathered for contributing in diverse ways to make this memorable occasion worthwhile. Let us not wait for change to come to us. Let us be the change we want to see together. With commitment and determination, we can turn our challenges into opportunities and build a better future for our region and our country. Thank you for your audience, and may we go forward with purpose, and may God Almighty bless our efforts. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chianapuyo, for those warm remarks. Ladies and gentlemen, at this juncture, shall we all rise, I beg your pardon, and with a resounding round of applause, welcome the President of the Republic of Ghana, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama.
Thank you very much. Kindly resume your seats. For want of time, let me just proceed on existing protocol and acknowledge our revered traditional rulers, our members of the clergy, senior government officials, our students, heads of security services, and citizens of the Upper East region. You've heard all the presentations, and I don't intend to rehash what my ministers have said already, and so I'll just make a few key points in some of the areas that I noted, and then we'll have the opportunity to enter the interaction phase. Our visit started yesterday, and as the President of the Regional House of Chiefs told you, our first port of call was the proposed sites for the international airport. I'm happy to say that it is currently going through procurement for the selection of the contractor who would come on site to build the new Upper East Regional Airport. It will allow direct flights from Accra to Sumbrungu, which is close to Bolgatanga, and it will enhance economic activity within the region. Instead of sitting in a bus for 11 hours to drive from Bolgatanga all the way to Accra, in 1 hour, 5 minutes, you'll be in Accra. And it has a runway long enough to take all manner of aircrafts that are currently operating domestically. So you can take the jets, like the Africa World have it, and they can take the turboprops like Passion has. And so both will be able to fly in and out of Bolga. It will also enable my own presidential jets to land, and so I don't have to land in Tamale and drive to Bolga. Anytime I'm coming to visit you, we'll fly straight to Sumbrungu and we'll be here in 50 minutes. Then from there we visited the E-block at Paga SHS. Indeed, we commissioned it yesterday, and the education minister has explained what we're doing in the education space. And so we are completing 30 of the abandoned E-blocks that we started in my previous presidency that were abandoned after we left office. We're going to complete them so that children can go into them. We have a policy to make those that are in rural areas into boarding schools, because the children come from scattered communities and it is difficult to have them commuting to school every day. And so we're going to add a boys hostel, girls hostel, and a dining hall so that they can become full-fledged boarding schools so that the children can live in school. But the ones in high population urban centers, we're going to keep them as community day schools, because the children don't live far from the school, so they can commute every day to those schools. But then there's a new batch of 30 E-blocks that we're going to build under the Star J project that the Minister of Education mentioned. And those are going to target districts that don't yet have schools and high population density areas as community day schools. But aside from that, we're also building 16 new, completely new secondary schools all over the country. And Upper East has also been targeted for some of these new schools. We also visited the Chuchulga-Nakong, Chuchulga-Sandima Road, which is under the Big Push. The Chuchulga-Nakong is just a segment of the entire road from Bolgatang, Navrungo to Wa. And so my turn is working on that segment. And there are other contractors working on all the other lots towards Wa. And so by the end of next year, we'll be able to drive from Bolga to Wa in complete comfort without any dust or potholes. It will be a first-class road, and it will solve the problem of commuting between Wa and Bolga. We are also, the same contractor is doing Chuchulga to Sandima, and we're also going to continue from Sandima to Fumbisi so that we open up that corridor. At the same time, from the Savannah end, we have re-awarded the Busunu to Daboya Road, and we're re-awarding Daboya to Mankargo. And then there's a missing link which will join from Mankargo to Fumbisi. And so if you are going from Sandima or from Navrungo to Accra, you don't need to come round this way. You just go down all the way to Daboya to Busunu. Then you turn left to Damango Junction, turn right, and you're on your way to Bupe and to Kumasi. Then our activities yesterday, we ended with the free primary health care, the launch of the free primary health care at Zuarungu. And as the minister explained, it is to fill the gap so that we can achieve universal health coverage. Because we noticed that when we came into office, almost 40% of our people were not on national health insurance. It means that they were not benefiting from healthcare facilities, or even if they did, then it means they had to pay cash to be able to get service. And so, like he said, we introduced 2 new interventions in order that we can achieve universal health coverage. The Ghana Medical Trust Fund at the top to deal with non-communicable diseases that are not covered by the NHIL, and then the free primary health care at the lower level of our health system, that is from the CHIPS compound, health kiosk, all the way to polyclinics. And like you said, if you're a Ghanaian citizen, you're entitled to free health care. If you go to any of the CHIPS compound, you just identify that you're a Ghanaian, you get free health care. Nobody will charge you. But I'm excited about 2 things. One is that it will also help us to improve maternal health, because the healthcare nurses will go from house to house, and so 1, it will help us with preventive care, and 2, it will help us to reduce maternal mortality, because part of their remit is not only to do medical screening but also to check on pregnant mothers. And so we're going to introduce an antenatal book, and so when they come to the house, anytime you go for antenatal, they will record it in the book, and then they'll show when your next visit should be. So when the healthcare nurses come to the house and you're a pregnant woman, they'll ask for your antenatal book, and they'll make sure that you have fulfilled your antenatal visits. Because a lot of the women who die in childbirth, if you investigate, you'll find that they did not follow the antenatal care system. And so sometimes they have difficulties in birth. Because sometimes if you are carrying a child, you can have high blood pressure because of the pregnancy, and so they need to keep monitoring your pressure. Otherwise, in childbirth, because of the intensity of giving birth to the child, either by cesarean section or by pushing through labor, the mother can die because she gets a stroke, while trying to give birth. And so we need to monitor all these things, and so the free primary health care will help in that monitoring. And then it also gives us the opportunity to do our medical tests. And so I've said that every citizen, and I hope that the chiefs will join us in this education, every citizen once a year must be screened medically. And so we'll take your pressure, we'll check your blood sugar and other vitals to make sure that everything is okay with you. So that is how we ended the day. Honorable Adongo talked about the economy, and I'm happy to add my voice to his that our economy has recovered very well. Indeed, a lot of people, including the IMF and the World Bank themselves, cannot believe how fast this recovery has occurred. But it has taken a lot of fiscal discipline. It has taken working at increasing revenue. It has taken, working to cut down waste and all that. And that is what has helped for this recovery. Like you said, indeed the whole of last year, we didn't send any loan agreement to Parliament. Not one loan agreement. In previous years, the main parliamentary business was approving loans. This time, for 1.5 years, actually 1.5 years, until June this year, not a single loan agreement was sent to Parliament. And so it shows you that everything that we've been doing with our own resources. The first loan agreements that have been sent to Parliament are the 300 million World Bank Star J project, that is to end double track in our secondary schools. And the second one is the $500 million feeder roads project. Those are the first two loans since this government assumed office. And so we'll continue to be very prudent in the management of the economy so that it can create the opportunities for our people. Now that we finish the stabilization of the economy, our next focus is on creating jobs and opportunity for our young people. And so growth, we finished stabilization, we're now looking at growth, and job creation opportunities. That is our next target. And so because of that, this year the Minister of Finance is going to Cabinet, to Parliament, with a policy we call the new economy. The new economy is selecting 7 sectors of the Ghanaian economy. And every year we're going to, for the next 4 years, every year we're going to invest $2.5 billion in those 7 pillars. But the biggest is agriculture and agro-processing, and that's where the Upper East comes in. Agriculture and agro-processing is going to take 50% of that 10 billion investment. So $5 billion is going to go into agriculture and agro-processing. And I can assure you the Upper East region is going to get its fair share of that $5 billion. So that will cover creating more irrigation facilities so that our young people, even in the rainy season, the dry season, would have the opportunity to be able to produce. The minister told you that Upper East can produce all the vegetables and everything that we eat in this country. And we're not even waiting for that program to start. We've started. We have the tomato revitalization project that is taking place here, which is bringing 2,500 acres of land under tomato production. And the Pualugu tomato factory is going to be the epicenter of it. We're going to rehabilitate the Pualugu tomato factory so that we can process the tomatoes that Upper East is producing to feed the rest of the country. And so we'll finish the Tamni irrigation dam so that the 4 districts in the Boko area can also go into their dry season production, especially onion production, because we know that the Boko area has a comparative advantage when it comes to onion production. We want to cut down the amount of onions we import from Niger. And if we put enough land under irrigation, we should be able to import substitutes and produce our own onions. And so government is going to support that. As he told you, the via irrigation is about 850 acres. It has not been rehabilitated for a long time, so right now we are working on it, and by next year all the 850 acres will be brought under cultivation. With regards to governance, he told you about the constitutional review. The minister has talked about it. Soon I'll inaugurate the constitutional review implementation committee, and their work is to take the government position paper and the CRC reports and synthesize the two, and then they will divide it into 2 segments: non-entrenched clauses and entrenched clauses. Non-entrenched clauses, we just need parliamentary approval. So those we will put before Parliament and we will vote and pass them. Entrenched clauses require that we conduct a referendum, and at least 40% of registered voters must vote, and 75% of them must say yes. And so we want to add that to the district assemblies election next year. So next year, apart from voting for your assembly members, you will also be required to vote on the constitutional amendment. And if we vote and it passes, then we will implement the entrenched clauses, amendments to the entrenched clauses. So that's to do with governance. With security and safety, I want to commend the IGP and his men. As the regional minister said, Upper East is safer now than it was before. A lot of the motorbike snatching, armed robbery and others have significantly reduced. That is because of the work the IGP and his people have been doing. And my final one is to commend the traditional rulers and the people of Boko. Boko is finally calm. The guns have stopped sounding, and people are beginning to go about their business. I believe that if this peace continues, Boko will bounce back to its original glory as a major, commercial area of our country. And a lot of the people who left will come back. Teachers left, health professionals left, Indeed, last year we couldn't post national service people to Boko because of the fighting. We couldn't post doctors to Boko because of the fighting. And so I believe that with this peace that we have found, if we continue, Boko will become what it was before. In the meantime, I promise 1 billion cedis for the Boko Revitalization Fund. I'm happy to announce that this week I'm inaugurating the committee. But even before we have inaugurated the committee, some work has started on Boko Town roads, on some health facilities and others. We are devoting the bulk of the money to the health sector and the road sector. We want to improve the road network, the bridges in the Boko area, so that traders and others, farmers can move their goods and services easily. And then also improve the healthcare in the area. And so we'll complete one of the Agenda 111 hospitals there, and then we'll also build a new hospital in Boko itself. And so these are some of the things that we're working on. And so I want to thank you very much for your attendance, and we can go into the interactive segment now. Felix, over to you.
No, it's okay. But Your Excellency, may I kindly ask that you stay with us for a few minutes. At this stage, ladies and gentlemen, we are delving straight into the questions and answer session. In the interest of time, we are only able to take 5 questions in this session. So if you have the questions, just put up your hands. Once you catch my eye, I will call you, and then a microphone will be brought to you to answer your question. Let me start by giving the opportunity to our revered man of God, a member of the clergy, to ask a question.
The lady in a helmet.
In the interest of time, I request that we are very brief.
Okay, so I would like to...
And one question per question.
Straight to the question. There are two questions, but the very first one is just a kind of observation. I would like to thank you very much for the information that has been given in terms of this region. But one of the things I was hoping to hear, especially as what is happening in the region, is about the mining. Because there's a lot of intensive mining going on in our region here. And we would really want to know what the impact is on the region in terms of benefits. But at the same time, also the issues of the destruction of the environment and all that. This is a major issue. I think most often we hear a lot about what is happening down south, but here it looks like the information regarding the impact of mining in the region is still very muted. And I would like to really draw the attention of the government to that. That's my first comment. The second one...
we are only able to take one more from you. With the greatest respect. Yeah.
Allow him.
Okay, please go ahead. Yeah.
Okay.
One more question.
Actually, this is the most important one. This is about the issue about education. In July, there was a government conference on the indiscipline in the schools, organized in Sunyani. And then a week later, we, the Catholic bishops and the Muslims, the Muslim leadership, we had a dialogue. And one of the things that also came out was the same topic, indiscipline in our schools, and how the stakeholders, most stakeholders can be able to handle that. And for us, from our side, we looked at it from the point of view of faith-based organizations, what we can do in order to be able to help. I'm happy the Minister of Education is here, and he's talking about the investment in education, and the children are also here, and I'm very happy about that. But one of the things that I wanted you to really draw the attention is the indiscipline in school, because you can feed them, you can give them all that they have, but if there's indiscipline, I think we are not going to go anywhere. And on this note, that I would like to appeal to Mr. President. You know that we have already come to a place regarding the MOU between the government and the faith-based organizations to be able to see whether we can have our schools back, because you continue to praise the faith-based organizations for discipline in their schools. But when it comes to really allowing us to be able to do this, sometimes we're having challenges and we don't really know what is helping with holding that. And therefore, I would like to appeal to you, Mr. President, to look at this once more and see what we can do, because we want to help ensure that our schools are safe and that the children who are coming out are really given the best care that they can need. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your contributions. There's a lady in a helmet behind the microphone, so please, behind the cameras, please give her the microphone. Yeah.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. I'm Mr. Zinabu. I'm actually the regional focal person for operational safety and compliance in the Upper East region. Thank you so much, Your Excellency. In line with this, as a safety person, I would like to say rest in peace to all gone souls who died as a result of in the line of duty. For example, the helicopter crash. Okay, so Your Excellency, I was so impressed during the Labor Day speech when you touched on operational health and safety in Ghana. In fact, you said in pursuit of someone's duty, someone is not supposed to die in line of duty. You also mentioned that in operational health and safety, digitalization of operational health and safety has come to help Ghana generate a lot of revenue. So the question is, Your Excellency, what are you putting in place to ensure that operational health and safety in Ghana is well institutionalized? Aside that, we are also proposing that at least each sector, be it private or government sector, should have at least one safety officer so that anyone who goes to work will be able to go home safely. For example, countries that are considered safe in Ghana, we have Sweden, we have Japan, Canada, we have Germany and UK. So it will be interesting and happy to reflect back to know that the President of the Republic of Ghana hand over to a different president, knowing that he has a safe country. His workers are safe, the employees are safe, and the people are able to work and go home safely. Thank you so very much.
There's a gentleman in a smoke to my right. Please hand over the microphone to him.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Your Excellency.
One question and very brief at that.
Yes, thank you very much, Your Excellency. Mine is an appeal. Your Excellency, there is no doubt majority of Ghanaians are benefiting from the reset agenda of your government. However, poverty, unemployment, inequalities are still pronounced, especially in the northern part of the country. We have been told by a number of people, you are the first president to do this, you are the first president to do that. I want to make a humble appeal to you, Your Excellency, to be the first president to make significant public investment in the northern part of the country to unlock the huge development potentials of it so that we can bridge the South-North development gap. I've always felt that if, Your Excellency, you do not make this commitment come to fruition, we may not get an opportunity of someone who lived, born and bred and well versed with the realities in northern Ghana to be able to address the South-North development gap. Your Excellency, during your campaign tour, I had the privilege to present to you a comprehensive master development plan for northern Ghana development. I want to know to what extent has government attended to this document, which has all that it takes to address poverty, inequalities, deprivations in northern Ghana. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. The next question will be asked by one of our revered traditional rulers. Please hand over the microphone to him.
Thank you so much. My name is Nabatanda Rongorgo Kuguri Asobaire the Fifth. I am the Paramount Chief of Kologo Traditional Area. Your Excellency, Mr. President, when you were mentioning of the roads, I thought maybe I was just keenly listening, but Kologo Naga Road, Navrungo Kologo Naga Road wasn't mentioned. And when the Minister of Roads was doing it, I didn't hear. Kolgo is the only town in Upper East here, one of the biggest paramountcy, without a police station, without a secondary school. Mr. President, I know you will consider me giving me one of the secondary schools that you are going to give to the region. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. The last question will go to a woman in the interest of gender balance. So I see a lady in a hijab at the back there. Please give the microphone to her. Yeah, please go ahead and ask your question. Yeah.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. My name is Bariyatu Muhammad Ibrahim. I am a Zabarma by tribe. I'm your boss. Zan tambaye question ne da Hausa zan tambaya, ban son tambaya da Turanci don yau ban shati ba. Da muna use currency. Currency na yana rike da jinyame. Kudin Ghana da yana da value. Tunda aka sake wanga kudi, ba jinyami cikin kudin na ya bari bai da nauyi. Jinyamin nan bai important bane ko currency nan ne bai need jinyami cikin. Question da nike da shi tambaya kenan. Amma kana zagin zabarmawa kai hankali na charging ka.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, Mr. President.
That was the fifth one, eh?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Those were 5 questions. Some were appeals, some were questions, and so I will proceed to address them. Starting with mining. The Upper East region has great potential for mining, especially gold mining, and the Minerals Commission is working to identify all the possible concessions in order that we can set up formalized mines in those areas. The thing is, we have 2 kinds of mining. We have the formalized mining, and then we have the illegal small-scale mining. Illegal small-scale mining, it is difficult to hold them to land reclamation after they have finished. But with the formalized mines, we make them post a reclamation bond, and when they have finished mining, they restore the land to what it was, and they take their money back. If they don't do it, then we use that money to get somebody to reclaim the land, and we use that money to pay them. And so we're doing, not only for the Upper East region, but the whole of the country, formalized mining. You cannot completely ban illegal mining. You just keep chasing them and all that. We are working, NIMOS is working very hard. We've seized excavators, we've seized chamfan machines, and you drive them out of this area, they run to this other area. But we are making progress. Of the almost 49 forest reserves that were invaded, we've been able to clear as many of them as possible of illegal miners. Before, what we did was, when we clear, we hand over to the Forestry Services Commission. But they don't fear the Forest Service. They go and drive the forest guards out, and they go back into the mine. And so now we put a military detachment. After we clear the forest reserve, we leave a military detachment there. And that means we have to spend more money. One, you must feed the soldiers. You must provide them with the logistics to continue to stay there in the forest. But we will not give up. We'll continue the fight against illegal mining. But Upper East has a good potential, and mining can create jobs, but we need to make sure that these are formalized mines so that they can employ our young people to operate. A few years ago, Cardinal Mine opened in this area, and you should already see the number of people who are working in that particular mine. In Upper West, they have the Black Volta mine development coming up. There are several other areas that we can see the potential for proper mining so that it can produce more jobs for our young people. But our target is to formalize the mining activity so that we have a greater control over it than the current scattered illegal mining that takes place. The advantage with the Upper East region is most of the places where the gold is found in rock. And so it does not create the kind of environmental destruction that we see in the south. The gold is found in rock, and so they blast the rock and they process it and take the gold out. And so it doesn't create the kind of same extent of devastation that we're seeing in the forest in the south. And so that's a fortunate thing. The second question was about indiscipline in schools. The problem is partly technology. When we were growing up, we had value systems that our parents taught us. We had value systems and morality that our religions taught us. If we had to gain any knowledge, we had to go to the library and read books. We used to watch one channel, GBC, and GBC gave us the programs that promote our values and our culture. The children of today have access to knowledge that we couldn't have imagined when we were children. They have the new media, they have AI, they have ChatGPT, they have Netflix TV. Indeed, on that little phone that they have, when you give your child a phone, know that you are opening him up to both positive and negative. So when you give your child a phone, you don't control the phone, put checks on the phone. He is exposed to so much information from across the world, some of which affects his value system. So it goes even beyond our parenting and our morality in terms of our religious faith. And so it's a wider problem than we envision. But they bring these values they take from those gadgets into school. And so in one school, a child takes his father's gun, takes it to school. Apparently the gun is loaded and it discharges. And it injures a girl. She went blind. She had to be flown out to work on her eyes before she regained her sight. I mean, there are so many acts of indiscipline. And when a teacher is enforcing discipline, a housemaster, the students gang up and say they don't like him. They go and attack his house. You know, in some cases, burn his house down. And so, yes, it is a problem that we must work together to solve. Both government and the faith-based institutions. We have noted the roadmap that was presented by faith-based institutions, faith-based organizations, to have a greater say in the schools that they established. And government is not averse to it. We are not averse to the faith-based organizations having a greater say in how their schools are managed. And so I can assure you, Reverend Father, that that is a process that is ongoing. And I'm a person of faith, and I've done my best to bring my children up based on the values that I was also given. But there are many cases where children break loose and become something else other than what you intended them to be. And so it's something that all of us need to work on. And that is why even the Minister of Communications is proposing to implement a system that prevents children under 16 from visiting certain sites on their phones. If we do that, that will help to protect our children. But like I said, we are not averse to increasing the roles of faith-based institutions, organizations in the running of the schools that they establish. Madam gave us a lecture on occupational health and safety. I'm not an expert in that area, so thank you very much for everything that you said. But we've been working with the TUC Safety is important in any economic activity, not only in factories, but in agriculture. How you handle pesticides, you must follow the rules of handling the pesticides. Otherwise, you can poison yourself, you can poison the crops, and the crops will poison people. If you are operating a heavy-duty machine, you must follow the guidelines for operating the machine. If you are going to move the machine, it is said that you must blow the horn, ping, so that anybody around will move away before you move. Otherwise, you could end up killing somebody or hurting somebody. So occupational safety is in almost every sector of endeavor. And what must happen is, in any of those economic sectors, they must have guidelines for safety. If you go, for instance, to the mines have very strict safety instructions. And if you breach the instructions, you can lose your job for not following the safety guidelines. And if there's an accident on site, they set up an investigation to find out why the accident happened, so that they can put in safeguards so that it doesn't happen again. So it's something we must all take seriously. And like I said, we and organized labor are working on that. Indeed, many of the things we talked about in respect to investments and in respect to what I said about the new economy is going to help bridge that inequality. Because when I talked about agriculture, I said that the Upper East region has a comparative advantage. Not even only the Upper East region, the 5 northern regions have a comparative advantage when it comes to agriculture. And indeed, I said that we're going to make sure that we get our fair share of that $5 billion investment. And so, if you look at the North and the South, we have a comparative advantage in some key sectors. 1, in agriculture. 2, in some places, mining. And so, if even we're going to industrialize, we must industrialize based on our comparative advantage. And so, we must look at what we produce here and put in the processing capacity to be able to process it and prepare it for the market. And so, that is where the focus and the target is going to be. We have the share industry. We must build more share processing facilities. Indeed, we built one in Bupe. It was working perfectly. After we left and our cousins came and took it, that factory, by the time we came, it had been run down. The raw materials were sold, the capital was spent, and the factory is standing there. And so, the North's ability to come out of poverty and to balance out the equality is to take advantage of the comparative advantages we have. And that means that we must make sure there's more water provided, there are more roads so that we can evacuate the food early. We have extension officers who will provide advice to farmers. We must build more farmer service centers here so that our people can have access to mechanization services. So I can assure you that a lot of investment is coming in. But even before the new economy, if you look at the distribution of key projects in the health sector and the education sector, if you do the analysis, you'll find out the majority of those projects are coming into the 5 northern regions to balance out the inequality. And so, it's something that we are doing deliberately, because it is in the interest of Ghana for us to balance out the inequality. Otherwise, what is happening is there's a steady drift of population to the south. And when that population drifts, then it puts more pressure on the social services in the south. It's not in anybody's interest. So it's in the interest of the south for the north to develop so that our population can balance out. And it's not us who are saying it. It was captured by the African peer review mechanism. The geographical imbalance between the north and south, the African APRM, when it was done in Kufuor's time, the first time the report was published, it said government must work to balance the inequality between the northern part of the country and the southern part of the country. And so since then, a lot of investments have been made. And I can assure you, during my term of office, we'll make sure that we even increase the investments in education, in health, in agriculture, in the 5 northern regions of this country. With regards to Chief, I think Chief was appealing. When you read the list, he said Kologo Naga Road was not mentioned. So you are directed to add it to the list. It is a presidential directive. In front of all these witnesses, you are directed to add Kologo Naga Road to the list. And the Minister of Education is also directed to ensure that Kologo gets a senior high school. Thank you, Chief. If you don't cry your cry, nobody will cry it for you. And finally, the issue of the currency. She has it in Hausa, so many people might not have understood. She's asking, she says that the strength of the currency was affected when the currency notes were changed. And you know, the Jinyame symbol was put there, and then the 6 wise men heads were put on the currency. And so she says that since that time, the currency, the susum, is not, she can't feel it. What happens is, every country, every 10 years, you are supposed to refresh your currency. Because if you use the same currency for too long, people learn how to counterfeit it. So from time to time, you have to change the security features on your currency and refresh the currency, so that it will take another 5 years, 6 years for the counterfeiters to be able to determine the security features and now start being able to produce their own currency. And so this particular currency is long overdue for refreshing. I know the governor has plans to refresh the currency, and I'm sure that at the appropriate time the Bank of Ghana will let Ghanaians know what they are doing about it. And I hope that whatever refreshed currency comes will have the spiritual strength that she has been asking for. But what I must say is that the cedi today is stronger than it was in the past because of good economic management. Your currency is as strong as your economic management. And because of the good policies we put in place, the cedi is holding its own against other major currencies. And so we'll continue to make sure that the economy bolsters the strength of the cedi. But like I said, at the appropriate time, the governor will apprise us of any plans that he has for replacing the currency. So thank you. I think that's the last question.
Please spare us a little bit more of your time, because the members of the Upper East Weavers Association, Weavers Association, they say they have a presentation for you because you boosted their trade with the way that you marketed the fugu in Zambia and elsewhere when you traveled outside of this country, and they deeply appreciate the overwhelming endorsements that you give them. And so I want to present you with these 2 smokes as a token of appreciation.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Ghana. I am Priska Nambomi Yenzi, the Regional Director for Upper East Regional Museums, and the Queen Mother for Napalek Nangodi Traditional Area. On behalf of the Bolgatanga Weavers, the Bolgatanga Sumasin Weavers Association, I bring you warm greetings with respect and gratitude. Your Excellency, we remember with pride that during your visit at Nat Hall, we made a request that you make our Goran Tane a national asset when you become a president. Yes, indeed, you have become the president, and you have made our request feasible by declaring Wednesday as a day for everyone in Ghana to wear Goran Tane. Today, we are here to say thank you for making our dream and hard work fruitful. And as a sign of our appreciation, we are honored to adorn you with Goran Tane. We hereby invite our Honorable Minister to join us to do us the honor in this.
Let's go.
Thank you. Okay. It's Lewis on this one. Thank you so much, Your Excellency. We present this to you not just for beauty or for decoration or just for looking good. We present it to you because it represents our culture, our identity, and the hard work of Bolgatanga, Sumasem, Weavers Association. We do this so that the whole nation would see that Bolgatanga is your home. Your Excellency, we believe in your vision and hard work. We are ready to work with you. Get us closer than we are by making support and funding opportunities easily accessible to us. Your Excellency, Baraka, Tiposia, Mposia, Mungode, Akele, Ape, Oyuawodo. Thank you. Next.
Thank you very much, Bolgatanga Weavers Association. All right. Thank you very much, Your Excellency. You may now resume your seat. We are almost at the end of this program, and I have the privilege to invite the newly minted Minister for Local Government, Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs to give us a short vote of thanks. The Honorable Mahama Ayariga.
Your Excellency, Honorable Ministers of State, led by the host regional minister, the President of the Upper East Regional House of Chiefs, and his grand entourage of chiefs, our host, the Reverend Isudanava, and the various leaders of the Catholic Church present here and all the different denominations represented here, honorable members of parliament, students, traders, public servants, heads of the security agencies present, municipal, metropolitan chief executives, and their various heads of departments who are represented here, our women groups, our party women leaders who are here in their numbers, our friends in the media, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I believe we would have liked this event to continue as we are getting more enlightened about the various activities, programs, projects that the government of President John Dramani Mahama is implementing in the Upper East region to make life better for our people. Unfortunately, every good thing must come to an end. And so this great gathering has come to an end, and we must appreciate everyone who has put in some effort to make this gathering a great success. So we thank the President himself for flying and driving all the way from Accra to come to his natural second home after Bole. I must tell a story today. As a young man, I grew up in Bolga. The first time I set eyes on President John Dramani Mahama was when I was on vacation as a university student, and I don't know if at that time he was a deputy minister for communication. He came to Bolga, and just by GBC, I know when I used to have a spot there, and as a young person, I saw him. He came and sat there, and some other friends came and joined him. They were having a bottle of beer and enjoying themselves and chatting, and I was seeing him for the first time in my life. Haven't seen him on television several times defending the policies and programs of the National Democratic Congress government. And I was so full of admiration for him that I lived my whole life trying to emulate and copy and be just like him. And today, I must say, I'm happy that God has somehow gotten our paths to meet, and I am one of his most loyal and faithful servants. And so we thank him very much for continuing to have Upper East at heart, loving Upper East, and making sure that in sharing the national cake, he in principle ensuring that there is a fair balance in the distribution of the resources, and Upper East is getting a fair share of it. We want to thank the host regional minister, who I will soon be working with as his local government minister, and to thank the DCEs and municipal chief executives who have all helped to ensure that this gathering is a success. I want to thank the chiefs who have ensured that they've poured the relevant and necessary and adequate libation for the president to be able to carry out his 2-day tour successfully. I want to thank the students who have come here. Some of them are writing examinations, but when they heard their president is in the Republic, they have stopped everything to come and hear the vision that the president has to make their lives better, to secure them a good future and make them great citizens in the future. I also want to thank the security agencies. The president thanked you already for the good job that you are doing in Boku, the good job that you are doing in the Upper East, that has made Upper East a safer place than he came and met it. I believe that everybody deserves to be thanked individually, but we cannot mention all of you. So please, all of you are appreciated. We thank you so much for being here, spending time to listen to the president, taking in the message, and I believe that when you go back to your various communities, you will even work harder to ensure the success of Ghana as a project. Your Excellency, we thank you very much.
Thank you very much, the Honorable Mahama Ayariga. We have come to the end of today's event. But before we depart, I will entreat all of us to stand as we take the national anthem.
Yes.
we draw the curtains down on today's program at this juncture. Thanks for coming.